Hi, this is Marianne with a scrapbooking process video. In today's video, I used the February 2014 Cocoa Daisy kit. I pulled out 2 pattern pieces of paper and a piece of white cardstock out of the kit. Just showing you some of the kit stuff here that I had pulled out to work with. There's 3 wood veneer frames. That's just a little piece of watercolor paper. And I took out my watercolors to use. That's just a set from Michaels. I think it's the Artist Loft brand. They work pretty good. So I have 2 photos from 2011 of my daughter and her father painting her room. So I put them together with this pink paisley pattern paper. I think it's from the Color Wash collection. There were 2 pieces of that paper in the kit, so I just pulled them out, and one has big paint splatters on it. So I thought that was good paper to use. And then another sheet of paper I thought I would use to mat the photos. So I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this page when I started out. And then I decided that I was going to pull some of those hero art stamps that look like paint, like a coffee ring stain and a paint splat. And I'm going to mat the photos, and I'm going to tear the edges and try some watercolor on the edges. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just tearing the edges of the paper. I also just want to make sure I say thank you so much for watching my process videos. I say it in every voiceover, however, I always say it at the end, and for some reason it always gets cut off. It always gets cut off. So it sounds like I don't say thank you for watching, but I really do, but then it doesn't show up. So thank you for watching. I also run the Stash Busters challenge over at 2peasinabucket.com. It is on the general scrapping board, and it's just a few challenges every other week. And one of the challenges this time around is to use wood veneer, washi tape, and flare on a page. So I'm going to use that challenge on this page also. So I pulled a few pieces of flare out of my stash. One I know was Amy Tangerine, and I'm not sure the little one that says today up in the corner there, I'm not sure where that came from. And the 3 wood veneer frames, I'm going to use, that was in the kit. And I'm going to use some washi tape on this page also. So I think right now I am off in search of maybe my paintbrush and a glass of water for the watercolors. Yep, that's what I went to go get. So I'm just using my non-stick craft mat, and I took a piece of scrap pattern paper, just to see if I'm going to like what this looks like. So I started with yellow. Both those yellows looked exactly the same to me. I couldn't tell any difference between the 2. There wasn't a lot of purple in the page, but I thought it might look nice if I added that in. So I'm just kind of experimenting, and now I just decided to go for it. And the first thing I use is a really dark purple. It doesn't really look that great, but I figured it will just blend in, and I'll use a little water to make the color a little bit lighter as I go. So one color I know that I'm going to use predominantly on this layout, just because the flare is yellow, so I figured I would do yellow all the way around my photo mat. So if nothing else, I know I can go for that. So I'm going to do that. But this was kind of just like a trial and error kind of thing. I just felt like being artsy and using my watercolors, because I've hardly ever used them. And it's just so much fun to just do a little something artsy. And I am just covering my photos there with a paper towel I had laying around, because I was getting water splotches all over them from the water on my brush. So I just want it to look like, have a color wash on there, and then I'm going to check how I like it on the layout. So in Nicole Jones 911 Facebook group this month also, the challenge is to use more mixed media on your scrapbook pages, or just do mixed media in general. I really love mixed media. I have a lot of mixed media projects. I've done a lot of canvases and stuff. Just really a lot of fun. And just last week I took a class with Tim Holtz, which was so great. It was an awesome class. If you ever get the chance to take a class with Tim Holtz. I highly recommend it. He was a great teacher. It was just so much fun to use all his products and get messy. And the class was at my local scrapbook store, actually, and they gave away a ton of stuff in class, so it was well worth the $85 for sure. So it was a great experience. So I was kind of in that mixed media mode, I guess you could say. So here I took just an 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock. You know those paper packs you can get cheap at Michael's? When they go on sale, I usually buy a white, a black, and a craft just to have the 8.5 by 11 ones. And so I took out a bunch of inks. I have some Studio Calico Color Theory ones and some a Hero Art Dabber and in yellow. And so my idea was I'm going to use these little wood veneer frames, and I'm going to use those Hero Art stamps, and I'm going to make like a little art scene in each frame. So I just took a scrap piece of white paper, outlined where I know like my perimeter is, what's going to show in the frame, and I'm just going to alternate between those two stamps, the coffee ring and the paint splat, and just kind of play around. So I seem to, since the paper I'm using is kind of pastel, second generation stamping works best, and what that means is you know, get your stamp loaded with ink, stamp it, and then it's the second time you stamp that you're going to use. That's called second generation stamping. So if you want the brighter, more vivid color, you would use the regular stamp, first generation stamping. But it's kind of like just stamping off a lot of the color. I also had those Hero Art neon colors. I wanted a little pink in there. I wasn't sure if it was too pink, but like I said, if you do the second generation, it just shows up faintly. It's not so vivid. And actually, the place where I was stamping off all the colors first made a pretty nice design over in the corner there. I think I'll just throw it away, but it's sometimes what you use to make, you know, just your little practice section over there is always, well, sometimes it's just nice to look at. You end up with a nice little composition. So mixed media is about anything goes. You can't be too precise, and you just kind of have to give yourself permission to play, really, and then just kind of be okay with how it turns out. So I didn't do the stamping directly on my background paper, because then it wouldn't have been contained within the frame anyway. So I did have a lot of freedom to make, you know, whatever I wanted to go in the frame, because I was just using a scrap piece of paper, and then I can move the frame however I like it around. So it wasn't stressful. It was just like a little fun design idea. So I had no idea that this is what I was going to do when I started out. It kind of just happened and came together, which is, I love when that happens. So my only idea was just to, I don't know, I guess be a little artsy. So I'm just trimming down that paper so that the frame fits nicely on top the way I want it. And each frame kind of has like a little word embossed in it. The bottom frame I think says "Remember When," and the middle frame I think just has some kind of like say it was from Kodak and it had like a issue number or something like that. So just like a random little number. So now I'm going to take some washi tape. I was just trying something out there, because first I thought maybe I wanted to outline my photo mat in black. I just feel like since I outlined the photo mat with the watercolors, it kind of just blends into the background paper. So I'm thinking I'm going to want some kind of little contrast between the two. And now, since I know this is the way I'm going, I'm just going to make that third little frame quickly. I'm just going to use the few stamps and color combination that I liked. That's Hero Arts Yellow. I feel like it's Butter Bar maybe. I don't remember what that one's called. And I'm going to use a little bit of the pink neon color from Hero Arts. And I think I used also Pale Tomato from Hero Arts, which is between a red and a pink. And especially the second generation, it's like a very nice rose color. And that mint green color theory and the coral color theory I just got last month. Those are some pretty colors from Studio Calico. So I'm just going to trim down that little white piece. And there, my 3 frames are done. Cleaning up as I go. So then I'm going to kind of just lay things out how I think I might want them. So like I said, I'm going to use Flair. I've got the wood veneer. And now I want to add some washi to the page because that is the third thing for the Stash Busters challenge. And these also came with the Cocoa Daisy February kit. They are from Evolicious, I believe. They're kind of puffy stickers. They're really cute. And this Amy Tangerine washi. It's very thin washi. It came in that whole pack. That's from my stash. I just hadn't used it yet. So I had that on my desk ready to use. I'm just drying the watercolor paper because it was pretty wet. And I don't want to heat set anything right on my blue grid mat because that's what makes it warp. I didn't know that. So I try not to use the heat gun directly on it. So now I got the idea that maybe I'll just outline the photo mat with my pen. And so I tried it. That's a Pitt pen that I just had sitting on my desk, a fine line Pitt pen. And I guess my intention further along was that I was going to outline more things on the layout, but that just never happened. So that's the only thing outlined. And it's really faint. You can hardly see it in the end, but it adds to that artsy look. So I also had this black washi sitting on my desk from my last layout. And I decided I'm just going to make a little square box and I'm going to lay my photo mat on top of it. So it's just a peak of black out from underneath my mat, and that will give the little contrast that I needed. And also that will give me my washi on my layout and a different way to use washi. So much comes on a roll. Probably will never use it all up. So I'm happy to be using my stuff. I'm just going to make sure all 4 sides are fairly even and that my photo mat a little bit peeks out from each side. And get it just the way I want it. I'm just trimming off the excess there so it makes a square corner. And I'm ready to glue down my photo mat now. Now that I dried it a little bit, I'm just going to get it a little bit more even, and that corner was a little not so straight. Okay, so I think I finally have the photos the way I want them. And I'm pretty sure in a few minutes my camera battery is going to die. So I do end up doing a title off camera, and then I charge the battery and I come back and finish up the page. So the frames are wood veneer. Just plain wood. So I thought maybe it might be nice if I added a little color to them. So I thought, oh, I have some white distress paint, and I guess that's Tim Holtz influence. That's what I thought of to use. So I'm just going to use my finger a little bit and see if I like that. It's going to kind of give it a whitewash look. And so the more I add, the more I think I am going to like that, and then I'm just going to paint them white. They're not so stark white, but it just didn't look like anything as plain wood. So I'm going to cover all 3 with the distress paint. I think it's called Picket Fence. And it's a combination of swiping it with the dauber and using my finger. I don't mind painting with my finger. It's fun. And so the paint went in the little recesses like the one that said remember when and that model number, item number whatever was written on the biggest of it. So instead of just plain white, because that didn't really contrast against the pattern paper, I just used a little mist, sprayed on my mat. See how I like that? And I do like that. That one was a little dark. Let me see what it looks like when I heat set. And then I wiped off some of the mist with a baby wipe. And I wasn't going for a perfect look there. I just wanted just a little color on it. And then I just took that coral ink pad and swiped it, not even swiped it, really kind of stamped it against the frame, and I really liked that the best. I thought that looked great. It must have been a little bit of the way the wood grain was, and just when you lay the ink pad on top, it just gave a nice texture look to it. So I really liked the way that looked, and that's it. I'm just going to add a little mint green to that one. And the frames will be done. Good enough. That's what I'm calling it. And now I'm going to fill the frames with the different little embellishments I pulled out. Oh, first I have to glue the paper to the frame, and for some reason my adhesive stops working halfway through. I'm not really sure what the problem is. But I'm going to get a few of them done, and then I think it quits on the third one maybe. So paper and 2 wood, and like I said, I'm using the Scotch quick dry adhesive. Oh, and then I realized that maybe I wanted that little one to go. I should use my foam applicator to do it, because when you get to one of those corners of the arrow and you're using an ink pad, you're going to smear it all. So I kind of made a mess with the ink, so then the second label I said, well, I should make kind of a mess on that to match the first one because I made a mistake. But it's good because it's an artsy layout, so it's okay to make a few mistakes. And now my adhesive is a little stuck, so I gotta try to clean it out with a pin to get it going. And then I'm going to get everything just the way I want it down that side, and my camera battery is going to die. Well, I think I've got one more little thing on camera. So those are from Evalicious. They're just puffy. I guess they're little like banner phrases. They're really, really cute. Like I said, they came in the kit from Cocoa Daisy. I hadn't touched the February kit. It was a lot of pastels. It was a really pretty kit. I just think when it came in February, I wasn't really in that pastel mode, I don't think. We had a tough winter here in New York, and I guess I just wasn't taking out many pages that had a pastel kind of feel to them. So now I've decided I am going to put that Today flare up in the corner, and so it needs a little something to go behind it. So I'm going to take the Amy Tangerine Skinny Washi, and I'm just going to make a few lines of it up in the corner, and I'm going to layer the washi on top. So I used the pink, the orange stripe, the little black polka dot. I'm going to use the yellow, and it's kind of like a bluish turquoise. They were kind of hard to get started, this washi. It was hard to find the end of it. So I'm just layering them up, and then I'll just fold it around the back of the layout. So just a little something up there to put the washi on top of, and then I'm just going to put a pop dot behind the washi because it was kind of concave back there. And I'm just going to peel off the rest of my little things and glue down my frames. So it's fun to get messy and artsy on a layout once in a while. You never know what tomorrow might bring. Tomorrow I might want everything lined up in a straight line or in a grid design and clean and neat looking. Just never sure. Okay, so the camera battery died, and I did my title. Laid them across the bottom of my page, put some thickers on there, and used 2 types of, I think I used sticker letters and thickers. And so the page is almost done. I just want to add some mist splatters. I used Heidi Swap Color Shine think it's in peach. I'm just going to do it around the page, just because one side of the pattern paper was really light. It almost looked white, so it needed a little something there. So I'm just using that black piece of paper to protect my photos. So I'm just sprinkling on some mist, and now I'm going to use some Studio Calico mist in black. I'm going to dry that one first because that was a big splatter. And plus now I'm going to use the black mist. I don't want them to mix together if I can help it. So I have Studio Calico Inky Black, and I'm just going to use that around the page just a little bit. Give the page a finished look. And now you can see the title a little bit better. It says Room Painting. It's my daughter and her dad painting her room. And also in the kit came a piece of ribbon. I just wanted to use it on there, so I knotted it in the middle. And I'm just going to use it as a little border on the side there. That's double stick tape I'm using to stick it down. And then I'm going to use the tiny attacher and just put a few staples in there. So that's it. There'll be a still picture at the end. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.